Hey guys, and welcome into another video. Today we're going to be doing my official NFL predictions for the 2020-2021 season. Obviously, this season is starting today. I'm actually recording this in the morning before this Texans and Chiefs game tonight. So it's going to be really exciting to get football back underway. Hopefully everyone's got their fantasy drafts out of the way. Everyone pretty much settled in, ready for football. I know I am. I finally started playing Madden today. I'm going to need to start doing some uploads of that as well. So I'll definitely start doing that. But for now, we're going to be doing the prediction video. And obviously, if you guys are new to this for whatever reason, it's okay. I'm going to be going through. I'm going to do every division, the playoff seeding, who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, who's going to win the awards, etc. So it's going to be a fun video. It's definitely going to have some bold takes. I try to have a couple bold predictions for every year just because, what good is it if someone's saying that all the projected teams are going to win? It's not as fun. So without further ado, we're going to be doing our predictions here, and we're going to start off with the AFC East. So now that we're here in the AFC East, I have the Buffalo Bills coming out on top as the division winners. How each of these are going to go is I'm going through every division from top to bottom is how I think the seeding will go. I'm not going to go into records because I don't really think I can predict those too well. But when it comes to the AFC East, I think the Bills are the better team above all, just due to the simple fact that they have already been in the playoffs. They've built a strong foundation. They've added to it with Stephon Diggs this year. I'm just very excited to see what they can do. I really like their defense. Their offense is getting even better. So, yeah, Bills are my team. I have the Patriots at second. I think that Cam Newton coming to New England is going to help them a lot. Hightower opting out does hurt them, so hopefully they can kind of get past that, kind of fill up his role. Bentley will have to step up this year. But I do have the Patriots still getting second with the Dolphins right behind them in third. And then I have the Jets down there in fourth. It's not a bad division of football. I just don't think that it's going to be as competitive as other divisions, such as the next one we're going to talk about. Dolphins fans, I think that you guys can compete this year. I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that you guys do very well. But I see a tight race between the Dolphins and the Patriots for second. And we'll see if any of these teams, other than the Bills, make the playoffs. Going on to the AFC West, I have obviously the Kansas City Chiefs being the champions of the division, former Super Bowl champions. I have the Raiders in second, Broncos in third, and the Chargers in fourth. Now, the Chargers in fourth, it stems from a couple things. The controversy at quarterback of who's gonna be playing all season. I love Tyrod. I think he's gonna do a great job, but it depends on how we see the Chargers going in. Derwin James is out for pretty much the whole year. It's going to be something to look at and kind of change, But I do have the Broncos at third. I do think that they are a very young team. They're going to be very dynamic, but, they're still a year or two away. They got some pieces to fill in. They did do a lot on defense. I like them a lot, but I don't see them having the immediate success that some people might have them having. For the Raiders, that might be a little bit surprised seeing them in second. I think that they have a good solid set right there. I think that they're going for a bounce-back year. I think that a lot of people are going to underestimate what the Raiders can do. Now, if they had Tyrell Williams, I'd feel a lot more comfortable about the Raiders, but I think that they've built a strong team. I think Ruggs is going to be a very good player. Obviously, they have Josh Jacobs. Carr should hopefully bounce back to his original form of being a pretty good quarterback. I was trying to search for adjectives there, but being a pretty good quarterback, I like what they did on defense. I like their draft. So we'll see what the Raiders can do. The development of their young guys from last year as well, Max Crosby, Clelin Ferrell, they definitely have a strong squad. We're getting Jonathan Abram back this year for the Raiders, so to see him play will be fun. But yeah, this is the Chiefs division. They're going to run away with it. In the AFC North, I have the Cleveland Browns winning the division. Now, this might seem like a shock to some of them. This might be a bold prediction, and it kind of is. For me, I just think the Browns have such a complete team this year. That they're going to be able to win the division. They just locked up Kareem Hunt with Nick Chubb, so they have that dynamic backfield. Obviously, Odell and Landry. They still have Baker. They added Austin Hooper. They added Jack Conklin to the line. They drafted Jedrick Wills to the line as well. So they have a very solid line set up. And then you go to their defensive side. Obviously, they have Myles Garrett back, which is huge. They did lose Joe Scobert, which does hurt, but I think that they have a solid secondary. I think Denzel Ward is going to be good. I love Greedy Williams coming out of the draft last year, so hopefully he progresses. I just think that their team is just in a certain spot where I just think that they're going to be able to out-toughen these other teams. The Ravens, for me, I love the Ravens. I think they're going to make the playoffs. Lamar Jackson's on my fantasy team, so I hope that he's balling out. But for him to keep up what he did last year would be, eye-opening to say the least. I think it's going to be very hard for him to make what he did last year a normality. I just don't see it. They lost Earl Thomas. They did add Calais Campbell. They didn't really help their offense too much. They drafted J.K. Dobbins, but this should still be Mark Ingram's backfield. But running out there with Willie Snead at receiver and stuff, I don't believe in it, especially when you have a quarterback where throwing is not his best trait. And you go on the defensive side, obviously, like I said, losing Earl Thomas and stuff. I just think that this team, as good as it is, I don't think that they're going to be able to ride the momentum like they did last year, with all the stuff happening in the world. Last year, I think, was very momentum-driven for this team. They felt like nobody can beat them, and that's why nobody could beat them. So for them to come into this season, I think that they're going to be close with the Browns. I think it's probably going to be one of those, tiebreaker things or something. I have both teams making the playoffs, so it's not really a big thing. But this is definitely probably the toughest division in football, just off the top of my head. Because those top three teams are very, very good. They're all competing for a playoff spot, as well as the Bengals, who are a young team but also up and coming. So I definitely love this division a lot. It's going to be a tough division to do, but I do have the Cleveland Browns winning the division. Heading on over to the AFC South, I have the Colts winning the division this year. They added a lot of good pieces in the offseason. They added Michael Pittman at receiver with Paris Campbell developing. Obviously, T.Y. Hilton should be healthy this year. They got Jonathan Taylor, who is obviously going to be a huge help, alongside Marlon Mack, who should be healthy, with Phillip Rivers at the quarterback. A little bit better upgrade than Jacoby Brissett. Offensive line is still probably the best in football. They did lose out on Ebron, but they replaced him with Trey Burton. So Burton and Doyle, I think, will be good. I think Burton's hurt right now, so we'll see how that goes. But on the defensive side, adding DeForest Buckner, developing these players, Darius Leonard, I really like this team a lot. Malik Hooker should be healthy. I think that this team is just very much set up for a solid run to the playoffs. Phillip should be able to get there with this team, and I really do like that. Titans, a couple things about them. They added Jadeveon Clowney, obviously is a very big thing. They did lose Logan Ryan. They replaced him with Jonathan Joseph. I think that's a downgrade. It's just this team didn't do enough for me to think that they're going to be able to repeat the performance. I like Tannehill a lot. I really do. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks that we have. I've always liked Tannehill a lot more than other people, so to see him succeed last year was really awesome to see. So I do think that the Titans will be a good team. I might even have them in the playoffs. We'll have to see a little bit later down the line. But the Texans, I do have probably on the outside looking in. Just with what they've lost in DeAndre Hopkins is more or less a morale killer to me. Brandon Cooks, I think he's starting off the season hurt. Will Fuller, we have to hope he has a healthy season. Deshaun Watson is going to have a great year. I'm not even worried about Deshaun Watson. But what is David Johnson? Is he going to be helping that team or is he going to be hurting that team? Because with the Cardinals last year, he was hurting the team. Offensive line still got some question marks. They have a lot of young pieces there. Defensive line, can J.J. Watt stay healthy? Just a lot of question marks surrounding this team. Off the top of my head, I really don't think they help their secondary too much in the offseason. So I just think that this team isn't set up to make a playoff run. And then obviously the Jags are probably going to be the worst team in football. They're definitely tanking for Trevor, and we will see how that goes. But yeah, AFC South, definitely going to be the Indianapolis Colts division in my personal opinion. But there might be one or more playoff teams in this division as well. Now, going on to the NFC. Now, before I go into, obviously, what you're seeing on the screen with the Cowboys winning the division, I think that one thing we got to realize is that there are really only, 2 or 3 bad teams in football. I think it's really Washington, Jacksonville, and there's probably another one off the top of my head. I can't think of it right now. But there's only a couple teams that are really okay, this team really isn't much right now. Other than that, pretty much every team has a chance to compete. Some teams might have a better chance than others, but a lot of chances. A lot of teams are very, very good, and that's why I'm excited about this season most, because I don't have a roster that I'm like, man, I don't really want to watch that team play. Even Washington, I want to watch Terry McLaurin play. Jacksonville, Gardner Minshew, DJ Chark, yeah, but not really too enticing. But most teams, there's something to watch, so that's something to look into. But NFC East is where we're at. With the Dallas Cowboys winning the division, if they don't win the division, if they don't make it to the conference championship with this roster, they're pretty much done for. I think this is kind of their last year of window, because obviously Dak's not under contract. He's on the tag right now. His salary is going to be a big hurt next season, comparatively, so we'll have to see what they can do. But they did get a lot of additions in the offseason. They've had some subtractions as well. Awuzie is going to be that starting number 1 corner, so we'll have to see how he can do. Fared up against top receivers. They drafted Trayvon Diggs in the draft. They got obviously CeeDee Lamb, who you're seeing on the screen, who I think is going to be an absolute monster. I'm such a CeeDee Lamb fan. It pisses me off he's on the Cowboys, but I am such a fan. I want to see him succeed. Their offense is great. That's really what it's going to come down to. Jarwin is finally going to be unleashed, which is good. The offensive line is healthy. That's going to be good. Having CD, Gallup, and Amari is going to be an awesome receiving core to watch, with Zeke obviously in the backfield, Pollard to help him out, Dak at quarterback still. I mean, this offense is one of the best in football. You look at the defensive side, a little bit worse. Not really anything in the secondary to write home about. I think it's definitely a lackluster secondary kind of to do, but I think that their front seven really makes up for that. You have Jalen Smith, who's a top linebacker. Van Der Esch should be healthy. He's a top linebacker when healthy, in my opinion. Defensive line, they have Everson Griffin. They obviously have DeMarcus Lawrence. They signed, obviously they signed Joe McCoy, but they signed someone else, and I can't think of his name right now. But Dontari Poe, that's who it is. So they have a solid front seven that should mask a lot of the problems that the secondary will have. It's really, if the Cowboys don't succeed, it's really going to come down to that secondary. We've seen the Eagles for the past couple of years. The only thing holding them back is that secondary, that they get burned in a lot of games, but they still end up making the playoffs, which is really good. So Cowboys are leading the division. You might see the Giants there, and if you are a fan of the channel, you might think it's a hometown bias. I really was looking at this. I fully projected the Giants to be in third place. But the more and more I looked at the Eagles and the injuries that they're having, Deshaun Jackson really only being their healthy receiver right now. Obviously, they lost out on Brandon Brooks, which I think is huge. Andre Dillard's out for the year. I think, Zach Ertz is unhappy right now too, and they're cutting. Here's the thing: a lot of injuries have happened to this team. They lost Malcolm Jenkins as well. I just don't see this team as, if they were fully healthy, I'd have them in second place, no doubt. But with the injuries that have happened already, I see them as a team that's going to win about 6 or 7 games, 8 games maybe. And I think that's where the Giants are. So I'm going to give the Giants the benefit of the doubt. I think that they might edge out the Eagles. I don't have anyone else in this division other than the Cowboys making the playoffs. Washington's at the bottom. Like I said, I think they're a year or two away from competing again. But we'll see what Haskins is this year. And if he's not the answer, they'll be able to go get a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance or somebody in the draft. So that's going to be good for them. But NFC East is the Cowboys to lose. And that seems like what it's been the past couple of years, and they have lost it. So we'll see what happens with this division. Heading into the NFC West, DeAndre Hopkins is going to lead the Arizona Cardinals to be the champions of the division, in my opinion. I think that this team really just filled out everything that they needed, drafting Josh Jones in the offseason, paying DJ Humphries as well, locking down those tackle spots, extending DeAndre Hopkins, so he's going to be a very happy receiver. He's going to put his all out on the field with Larry, with Kirk, with Isabella there as well. Tight end position, it's a little bit shaky, but a lot of people are believing in Dan Arnold. A lot of people like what Dan Arnold can bring to a team, so that'll be cool to see. You obviously have Kenny Drake that is on the tag right now, playing in the backfield. That's going to be a good running back spot for him because he had such a great year with him last year. And then their defense, man. Chandler Jones, arguably the best pass rusher in the league right now. 19 sacks last year, looking to improve on that. They obviously got Isaiah Simmons, which is one of the most freak athletes we've seen coming out of the draft. Budda Baker just got paid as the top safety. Patrick Peterson's back. Byron Murphy's second year. I mean, this is a team to very much be excited for. They signed Devondre Campbell as well in the offseason. Hassan Reddick had a pretty good year last year for, kind of being written off as a bust the first couple of years of his career. So I really do think this Cardinals team is the best team in this division at this moment in time if they can mesh well together. Seahawks, I have it second, simply because I think that Russell Wilson is going to carry this team like he always does. He's going to be able to do exactly what he is, Mr. Unlimited. He's going to be able to bring this team to what they need to be, and I really do think that the Seahawks can get the second place. Niners, I have down in third. Now, Niners fans might be like, hey, we just made the Super Bowl. Like, what the hell are you doing? You're on crack. I'm not, I swear. I have them kind of fighting for a wild card spot as well. Obviously, this year is the 7 wild card spots. But for the 49ers, the injuries, man, are really hurting them. No Debo for a while is going to hurt. On top of that, they had Jalen Hurd go down, I'm pretty sure. So that one hurts as well. Going out there with Ayuk is, it's going to be fun for me. I'm an ASU fan, obviously, but it's just the offense is not really where it should be. That whole Mostert situation, I don't know how it's going to affect the team, if it's going to affect the team at all, if it's going to affect his touches, how it's going to affect the team in carries for Coleman. Is Coleman going to get upset because Mostert did all this? But whatever it is, And then their defense, I think their defense is good. They obviously lost out on, they traded DeForest Buckner last year. So we'll see how Javon Kinlaw can step into that role. But right now, I think that the 49ers, as good as of a team that they are, I think this is just this was the division that I wanted to say. This is the best division of football, hands down, not even a question at this point in time. Every one of these teams are playoff contenders. There's really it's going to be a tough division to win in, and I'm going to see the Cardinals coming out. But the Rams, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams in fourth place have 8 wins. That's how good of a division this division really is. So NFC West, I have the Cardinals on top. We'll see how it is at the end of the season, but this is going to be one of the best divisions. Now going on to the NFC North, I have the Green Bay Packers winning the division. I just believe in them, especially in this division. I think that they're going to be the best team. I have the Vikings getting second. They lost out on Diggs this year, which really, looking at the team, hurts them a lot. I don't see the team being as good offensive-wise comparatively, and then defensive-wise, they lost out on Linval. They lost out on Everson Griffin. So it's going to be a very different Vikings team than what we're used to for the past couple of years. We'll see how it is, but I do think that they're still going to be a top team. They're still going to be able to compete. Then you look at the Chicago Bears. I have them at third. They're believing in Trubisky. They spent a huge price tag just to get him to compete. So I'm hoping Trubisky makes the next step. If not, Foles, I think, can step in and do well. Khalil Mack, I hope, can bounce back as well. I think this team really lost their identity last year, and they're looking to gain it back because just a couple years ago, they were a very, very good team. And that's really what I want to see. That first year of Khalil Mack, that was a very good team that people were scared of. And they just got what's his name from the Cowboys last year. I want to say Hayes, but I feel like that's wrong. D. Lyman, whatever. I'm not going to try and get into it. But anyway, they got Robert Quinn. I don't know why I said thinking of Hayes, but Robert Quinn they also have on there. So I think that this Bears team can do a lot. I think that they are not going to be a playoff team. I don't think them or the Lions are going to be a playoff team. I think that people are a little bit overhyping the Lions just because Stafford's back. I love Stafford. I think he's a beast, but I just don't think that this team is going to be, as great as people think. I don't know if any other team other than the Packers is going to make the playoffs personally, but we'll see. But this is just how I have the division coming out. Then the last division to go over is the NFC South with the New Orleans Saints winning it out for me. With the Buccaneers, Panthers, then Falcons. I really like the Saints this year. I don't think they really have a weak spot. This is going to be a tough team to beat. You have the Buccaneers, who obviously are a great team on paper. We'll have to see how that translates to the football field, but they should make the playoffs without a problem as well. This is one of the better divisions in football as well. Panthers, I have them slightly edging out the Falcons. Falcons usually deal with a lot of injuries. The offensive line is still a big question mark. We don't really know how they're going to look on defense because they kind of had to reach on A.J. Terrell this year because they really needed a corner. So we'll see how they are. But the Panthers, I really like their team. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a perfect fit for them to be able to get the ball to McCaffrey. They're adding Robbie Anderson with Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore. That's really good to see. Defensive-wise, they have added Yetur Gross-Matos in the draft, who I think is an absolute stud, alongside with Brian Burns from last year as a rookie, so it's the second year there. Dante Jackson, I really think that even though Kuechly's gone, I think this team can bounce back. I think they can have a good, solid year. It's a tough division to play in. I don't see them getting more than like 6 or 7 wins, to be honest, but I do have them getting that third spot. Now going into the AFC playoffs, I have the Chiefs coming out as the champions of the playoffs. I'm not going to go into the playoff matchups or anything like that, but I will do the seeding here, obviously. So we have the Chiefs in first, with the Bills being the second seed. The Browns are the third seed, and the Colts being the fourth seed. Those are the division winners. Those are going to be the top 4 seeds. Then after that, I have the Ravens being the first wildcard team in, the Titans being the 6th wildcard team in, and then the Texans being the 7th team in. I think that, we've talked about these teams a lot already, so I won't go too much into it. But I think the Texans are going to be able to slide in that 7th spot just because, Deshaun Watson can carry that team. He can do a lot with that team. If David Johnson can be a shell of what he used to be, I think this is a team that can succeed. But it really is going to take a lot of grit. It's going to take a lot of hard work. And, I don't know if they're going to do much in the playoffs, but I think that they could slide into that 7th spot. Going on to the NFC, I have the Packers being the number 1 seed and being the NFC champions. I just really, like I said, I like this team a lot. Their defense is one of the most terrifying defenses in football, for my personal opinion. They did lose out on Martinez and Fackrell last year due to them both going to the Giants. But with the Smith brothers there, Kenny Clark in the middle, they obviously have Jair Alexander on the outside, who's being one of the best corners in football this past year. He kind of solidified himself in that sense. Darnell Savage had a good rookie year last year. And then offensive-wise, I love the Aaron Jones. I love Jamal Williams. I like the A.J. Dillon pick to have that bruising running back. Aaron Rodgers, with them picking Jordan Love, I think he's on a revenge tour. I think he's going to be an absolute beast this year. He's a guy who doesn't turn the ball over. He's a smart quarterback. I think that he's going to be able to do a lot for this team. Offensive line has not hindered at all. They obviously did lose out on Devin Funchess last year, and then he opted out this year as well. So it's a mess. But Devontae Adams fully healthy is scary, to say the least. He's one of the better receivers that we have in football, top 5, if not top 3 even. When fully healthy. I do really like Allen Lazard. I know Aaron Rodgers has talked a lot about Allen Lazard being a very solid receiver with Valdez Scantling as third third receiver. I think that's a very solid lineup. We saw Lazard kind of start to break out towards the end of the year. So if he continues his progression and is playing how I think he will play this year, I see no reason why the Packers can't win the conference. But behind the Packers, we have the Saints, the Cowboys, and the Cardinals, obviously the division winners. And then we have the Seahawks, Buccaneers, and the Niners slipping in there at the 7th seed. So I do think this is going to be a very fun year. Like I said, all of these teams have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Every player that is on this team are just like, there's no bad team to watch, man. I'd rather, if the 49ers are going into the playoffs, I'm okay with it at the 7th seed. That's a really good team to be in the 7th seed. So to say that, I think that this is going to be it. So obviously there's a Super Bowl on the way. Super Bowl, is it 55, I think is what we're on? I don't even know. But I think it's at 55. But anyway, the Super Bowl matchup, you know what it is already. Let's see what I have as the NFL champions for the 2021. That would be the 2021 Super Bowl, I guess. In Super Bowl 55, I do have the Packers edging out the Chiefs 31-28 and winning the Super Bowl. Now, this is going to be kind of an unpopular pick. This is kind of why I do predictions. You know, I'm a big believer in the Packers this year. I think they're going to have a great year, and this is how I think it's going to go. Last year, the 49ers, you know, if that pass from Garoppolo was just a yard or two shorter, it would have been right on money, and they would have won the Super Bowl last year over the Chiefs. So I don't think the Chiefs are this unbeatable team, but I do think the Chiefs are miles above a lot of other teams. So I think Aaron Rodgers can get it done. This is my prediction for it. That's the score prediction for it as well. But, you know, like I said, there's so many teams in this league that are great. I wouldn't be surprised if neither of these teams make the playoffs, or not the playoffs, make the Super Bowl. I wouldn't even be surprised about it. Now, I know this is a longer video, so if you guys are still here, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it does mean a lot that you care about these predictions. So that's very good to see. So Offensive Rookie of the Year, I do have Joe Burrow being the Rookie of the Year. I think he's set up very well with Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, A.J. Green. I think that they just have a very solid setup there for Burrow, solid offensive line after what they've done in free agency. So I don't see a reason why he wouldn't play like he did at LSU. I think he's going to have a good time with the offense. I'm just worried more or less about the defensive side of things for Cincinnati against this amazing division that they have. But I do think that Burrow will end up taking Rookie of the Year. And then for Defensive Rookie of the Year, I do have an outside pick, kind of one of those like, whoa kind of picks. I have Yetur Gross-Matos winning Rookie of the Year. He's a starting edge rusher for the Carolina Panthers. In this division that is, one of the most competitive divisions, they're going to be competing every single week. And with him and Brian Burns, I think that he's going to be able to use his speed. I think he's going to be a very good edge rusher in the NFL. So for him to go out there, I think if he has a great season, it doesn't have to be a Nick Bosa season, but for him to have a great season, I think would be awesome to say the least. I think that he's just set up in a good spot to win Rookie of the Year if he does well. Some other guys that obviously could be looking at here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the offensive side, CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, all three of those guys are very big. I think those are pretty much the candidates for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Obviously, Chase Young is one of them. Isaiah Simmons can be up there. Derek Brown, Caleb Chason. There's a lot of different things that could happen. But I think Gross-Matos being off the edge with Derek Brown, with Brian Burns in there, I think that Gross-Matos can really use his size and speed to get around that edge and have a very good rookie year. Coach of the Year I have going to Andy Reid. Obviously, I have them being the top team in the AFC. I don't see them losing anything that they did last year, so I think that this is going to be a great team for Andy Reid and the Chiefs. I think he's going to be able to win that Coach of the Year, and a well-deserved Coach of the Year as well from the former Super Bowl champion coach, Andy Reid. Comeback Player of the Year, I am going to give the award to Deshaun Jackson from Philadelphia Eagles. Got hurt in Week 2 last year, had an amazing Week 1, and then just really, after that injury, tried to come back a couple times, and then pretty much just was out for the rest of the year. So for him to come back this year, no Alshon Jeffrey, Jalen Reagor's hurt. He's pretty much going to be the focal point of this offense. I see him having a great year this year with the Eagles, and I think that he could win Comeback Player of the Year, especially if he has a 1,000-yard reception season, maybe like 70 catches, 1,000 yards. I think that's a season where you're going to win that Comeback Player of the Year if you're able to do that coming off an injury like that. So Deshaun Jackson's my prediction. Going into the Players of the Year, I have on offense Patrick Mahomes being the Offensive Player of the Year. He just signed a lucrative $500 million deal. I think he's going to come out here and just have a great time. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is, I think, an upgrade at the running back position. Kelsey's still there. You still have the whole receiving core there. I mean, this team has not lost pretty much anything. Duvernay Tardif, I think, might have opted out. But other than that, I think that this team is just so good that Mahomes is going to be able to carry them. I see him winning multiple MVPs throughout his career. So this would be number 2 for him. But I see him, without the injury last year, he probably could have won MVP last year too. So I think he's going to get back to form here, and I think he's going to win the Player of the Year here, as well as Chandler Jones being the Defensive Player of the Year. The Cardinals winning their division, being in the playoffs. I think that's going to be a lot to do with what Chandler Jones can do in his production. Like I said, 19 sacks last year is crazy. The fact that he is able to do that on a consistent basis is awesome. I think that he is just one of the better players in the NFL that we have. Always gets disrespected, and it's kind of getting put on notice now, the disrespect that he gets. But Chandler Jones, I have winning Defensive Player of the Year. Mahomes winning Offensive Player of the Year. So who is going to be the MVP to end off the video? It's obviously going to be Patrick Mahomes. We've talked about him with the Offensive Player of the Year. I don't really need to go into it too much, but I have him securing his second MVP this season. I think it's going to be a great season for football. If you guys are excited to see Mahomes, the future 2020-2021 MVP tonight, play against the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson, I know I am. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch, especially because of how fun the division or the conference championship was last year for the Chiefs and no, not the conference champions. It was the divisional round. But just see how fun that game was last year. I think that's going to bode a lot well, especially because everyone's going to come out there. They're going to be wanting to play football. We're going to be wanting to see football. I cannot wait to see what it is. So if you guys are new to the channel and you guys stuck around for this whole video, let me know in the comment section below. I want to know who has stuck around for this whole video. We're going to do a video after the season reacting to my predictions, kind of seeing how bad I was at it. So if you're looking forward to a fun season, look forward to that. Like I said, I'll have Madden content coming out. Fantasy football, more content will be coming out as well. So just let me know in the comment section below if there's something that you personally want to see, and I'll try and get around to it. But like I said, if you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn those notifications on. If you didn't enjoy the video, just refresh the page, check it out again, let me know what you think the second time. And without further ado, that is going to be it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.